This video is going to be a hard video. It's about losing my daughter. I had her the day that I turned 17. She was one of the best things that could ever happen to me. She taught me how to grow up, be responsible, and be a good mom. Well, as best I knew how to be a good mom. She was a handful. Don't get me wrong, yes, she was a handful. She had her first child at 16, and I used to talk to her all the time because I was trying to break the cycle of being a young teenage mom. She turned around and had her second child. She was 18. And at that time, I had made a big move when the kids were toddlers. When I got a promotion, so I moved from one state to another state. And me and my daughter talk faithfully every day. We have been traveling back and forth to visit the girls and visit my children. In 2004, my youngest granddaughter, her youngest child, was turning 4. And we went down there and surprised her for her birthday. My daughter didn't even know we was coming. It was just a surprise. Little did I know that would be the last time that I saw my daughter alive. And I'm going to try not to get emotional on this video, but I thought now would be the best time to do the video because I'm not down or anything, but I'm feeling some type of way today. And sometimes it brings on panic attacks that I started having after my daughter passed away. So we got home, we had, I talked to my daughter every day, regularly, no big deal. Because we were real close, so we talked every day. So in August of 2004, it was on the 7th. It was earlier that day. No, it was actually on the 6th. It was like close to 10 or something like that. I had talked to my daughter. She was so happy because she was going to go to a concert, and she was excited about it. She was on her way to work, and she was excited about this concert. So we talked, and then it was time for her to get off the phone. So I told her I love her. She told me she loved me, and we talk again tomorrow. Tomorrow never came. I'm sorry. Hold on just a minute. Okay, I'm sorry. I had to step away for a minute. But tomorrow never came. At about 2 a.m., I woke up out of my sleep and I had this sharp pain in my chest. And it only lasted for a few seconds, but it's like I couldn't breathe and something was like piercing my heart. So it lasted for a few seconds, and immediately after, the first person I thought to call was my daughter. And this was my oldest daughter. She was 23 at the time. So I called and called and called. I don't care what she's doing. She always answers my call. She never answered the call. I couldn't sleep that night. I was up wondering what was going on. And I had my youngest daughter with me, but it never occurred to me to call my other 2 kids because I knew that something was wrong, and I knew that something was wrong with her. So the next day, my youngest son called and said, "Mom, Nicole is missing. She never came home. We don't know where she's at. She's not answering her phone." And me already knowing that something had happened, I told them, "She's okay. And she'll call me and let me know she's okay," and stuff like this. Well, that didn't happen this time. I called the police department. I was trying to give them information on her and different things like this. So later on I get this call and they said that they found a girl, a woman, at a rest stop. A truck driver had actually found her. I'm trying to call and I'm trying to find out information. Of course, they're not going to give you information because they don't want to tell you anything, and it's written not really her. So they were trying to pull her dental records and stuff like that. And I was telling her, you know, she has this tattoo. This is her name. This is what she looks like. This is her build. You know, different things like that. So all that Saturday, I had to wait, knowing it was my child, because I knew in my heart it was my child. Well, I told the boys to keep the girls together and we were going to go down there. Me and my husband had packed our bags and he was like, okay, well, let's just wait until they tell us that it's actually her before she goes. I know it's her. I know it's her. So we waited till that Sunday, and Sunday I get a call from the detective telling me, yes, it is her. And she died at around 2 a.m. Saturday morning. Well, 2 a.m. Saturday morning is when her last breath, when I had that pain, and it was exactly 2:01, and I will never forget that. I couldn't cry. I always try and hold my emotions in, because I know I have to be strong. I'm trying to get her daughters so I can raise her daughters. So now I have to be strong for them and I have to raise them. My husband kept telling me, you need to cry, you need to get it out. I couldn't cry. I knew that if I cried, it meant that she was really gone. I started gathering pictures and, you know, things like that. So we got in the car and we went from Alabama to Oklahoma, which is a 10-hour drive, the longest 10 hours of my life. All the way there, I just decided, okay, I'm gonna write her obituary. So before we can get there, I get another call, and the youngest one's father came and took her and got an emergency custody for her. The girls had never been separated, so that was a hard pill to swallow. We get there, I gather the oldest and, you know, get whatever stuff she had. I just told her that her mom had went to sleep and God wanted her home. She had a few questions and I answered them best I could, but I wanted to shelter her as long as I could, at least until she was old enough to understand. Okay. She died on the 7th. We finally got her body on the 12th, and I had to call because I moved her from one city to another so that she can be buried next to my dad. Funeral home came and got her, and they were so nice. They because my daughter did not have insurance, so we were trying to figure out how we were going to pay for this funeral. We had to raise money to pay for this funeral. So the funeral home went and got her for free, because usually they charge. And I found out that I was getting a death benefit. It's called a violent death benefit in Oklahoma, and she got a large sum of money that was going to pay for the funeral. So the funeral home was aware of it, so they did not charge for anything up front. We still had to pay for the opening and closing of the grave and the burial plot for her. We had so many people come in, and we had a gentleman came in and he paid the opening and closing. He bought her funeral grave. He bought her headpiece. He did so much for us. I'm not going to mention his name, but he was heaven sent. So we went, we made the funeral arrangements, and we buried my child. While making the arrangements, everything was fine. I picked out, you know, the casket and everything, and the funeral home threw in a lot of things for free. I mean, free police escort, free family car. We got a lot of things for free because of the situation, and they didn't want payment. So until, you know, they knew that we were getting the check. So I had the people, I contacted the people and I said, could you just sign the check over to this funeral home so that I know the people would get paid. I did not have an open casket because of the damage that was done to my baby. So if you didn't see her before, the hour before that funeral, you were not going to see her. So we ended up having the funeral at the funeral home in their chapel. And my cousin, who is a preacher, he did the eulogy and everything for the funeral. And I asked that there be no shouting out, no, I wanted to be a funeral of her homegoing. I didn't want anybody acting up, acting a fool or anything like that. And I think the first time that I seen her daughter cry, and at the time she was 6, was at the funeral. And I played this song, and the song is called Celebrate My Life. Celebrate My Life by Shirley Murdoch. That song tore me up, but it helped me because every time I think about my baby, I play that song and it gets me through whatever I'm going through. Sorry. Sorry, guys. I don't want this to be long, drawn out, and I don't want it to be sad because I celebrate my baby's life. So at the funeral, that's the first time I shed a tear. August 14th, 2004, we buried my child. And I told her oldest daughter, who was 6 at the time, baby, it's okay to cry. I was amazed. She didn't understand what was going on, and she didn't understand why her mom was in the casket. But she knew that, you know, she'd tell everybody, oh, mommy's with God, mommy's with God. So unfortunately, I had to come home with one child, which I think it hurt her more because she's so used to being with her sister every day, and now she's not only lost her mom, but she lost her sister and her best friend. I'm leaving out a lot of stuff because it would be long and drawn out, but it was a long ride and to drive that drive. And she asked different questions about her mom and why did her mom leave, and you know, different things like that. At that point, I really didn't have any answers because I didn't know what ought to happen. So I kept up with a detective that was had gave me her number, and she was going to let me know what all was going on with the case as they went along. So I called every day, and I kept my child's cell phone on, and I'd call her phone just to listen to her voice on the voicemail and to tell her I loved her. So for the first, I want to say it was 5 years, I had no idea who killed my child. There was an autopsy done, and I was told by my husband, because they sent me a copy of it, don't read the autopsy. And I said, oh, I'm good. I can handle it. I shouldn't have read the autopsy. She died instantly. So that was a setback. I had to figure out how to deal again. What we did not realize is that in order to get her in school, we had to pay. So we had to get a lawyer. And they weren't cheap. We had to come off so much money to get this child in school. And that was just to get her in school. That was not legal guardianship or custody or anything like that. My daughter had no will, so we didn't have legal custody of her. We had temporary custody of her since we got all the stuff together. So we were trying to work and get custody of her. The state of Oklahoma was wanting to pay for her to go to counseling, and at that point we didn't feel she needed counseling because the simple fact that we had always been in her life. So it wasn't like she was going to strangers, and it wasn't like she was you know, she was not feeling any depressed or anything like that. You know, she talked to us about what she was feeling and stuff, and once we got her to school, she was always on. honor roll programs and magnet programs and stuff like that. So she was always did well in school. So we didn't feel that there was a need for her to go to counseling, so we didn't put her in counseling. So then we moved from one city in Alabama to another. It was like 20 minutes away. We had to start all over with the schooling process, which means we had to pay another lawyer, get information up, and get her in school. So we turned around and we tried to get custody, and the father wouldn't let us, so we ended up having to find a way to go around it, and the only way to go around it was to adopt her. So we put an ad in a paper here locally, and he had 30 days to answer this ad, which we knew he was not going to see the ad because he didn't live here, so the ad does not go out, you know. So after the 30 days, we went to court, and the judge asked us questions about her father and if he's tried to come down and contact us and stuff like that, which of course was no. So they granted custody and asked us if we wanted child support, and we told them no, we didn't want child support. We were capable of taking care of ourselves. So we kept her active. We put her in all kinds of sports activities, just to keep her busy and keep her mind, you know, off of her mom and her sister. And granted, for a while we were going to see her sister, and then we lost contact and we had no way of getting in touch with her. So that was another hard blow, because we couldn't find her sister. It was probably 2 years, maybe 2 or 3 years after we adopted her, I got a call from the detective telling us that they caught the guy that killed her. He confessed, and he was in Mississippi. And unless they can find a stronger case or find her blood in the vehicle, he wouldn't get the death penalty because he plea bargained in Mississippi. Now, had he went to Oklahoma and they had a stronger case, he wouldn't get the death penalty. So I guess my thing was they caught him. I'm happy about that. I can rest at peace, and that I knew that he would have to answer to God in the end. So here it is, 2016. My child's been gone for 12 years, and now Jay went from a 6-year-old losing her mom. She's had a strong family in back of her, and now she is in college on a full ride scholarship. So I'm so proud of this little girl, and I know her mother is just as proud. It gets a little easier to deal with as far as how you deal with it and what makes you get through. And I'm just hoping that this video can help anyone else out there that has lost a child. I hate it when people tell you that they know what you're going through, because they don't. Losing a mother, a husband, a brother, sister, all that, that's hard. That's hard. I'm not going to lie, that is hard. But it's something totally different when it's something that you gave birth to, that you carried inside of you for 9 months, and then you gave birth to, and you had them 23 years in your life, and all of a sudden they're just taken away for no reason whatsoever. It's just senseless. So I would rather people say, sorry for your loss. Leave it at that. Sorry for your loss. I'll pray for you. But I've learned to deal with it, and I'm getting better at the way I handle my situations. I have still not yet grieved the way I need to, and I know it will be coming soon, because I feel more and more panic attacks. So I set out to motivate and help people in their time of needs. I've had 2 friends recently lose their child. So I talk to them, and I sit down, and I let them grieve. I don't tell them how they should grieve or when they should grieve, because everybody grieves a different way. So I let them grieve the way they know how. And if they need me, I'm there. That's all you can do. So I hope this story touches someone's heart and helps someone. If you know someone that is going through what I went through, feel free to share this video with them, and maybe I can reach out to them and help them in their time of need. But this is my story, and this is my testimony. I got through the hardest time ever in my life, and I honestly did not think I was going to get through it, but I had kids that I needed to get through it for. So with that being said, I'm here where I am today, and I try to help others, no matter what the situation may be. So please like, subscribe, and share the video. And thank you for watching, guys. Sorry it's so long. Have a blessed day. Bye.